What is going down, Sourdough Squad? We are back with the Jason Aponte. I don't even think we can call him Jason Aponte today. We're going to call him New York J because he's fitted head to toe. But we're going to talk all things Panthers. We're going to preview Falcons. We're going to get into it all right after this. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Look at Jason, man. He's fitted in that New York gear, man. We see you, Jay, out there from the Bronx, man. How are you doing today, my guy?
I'm good, man. The 49ers have won 2 games in a row. The New York Yankees are up 1-0 in their division series with a chance to go up 2-0 tonight. I mean, things are looking up, man. Like, seriously. And for all the people, well, you're a bandwagoner. You can't be a bandwagoner when your father's from the Bronx. Can't be a bandwagoner when your father went to Indiana when Joe Montana went to Notre Dame. So not my fault that I get to root for the 2 prestigious, franchises in both sports.
Absolutely. And let's not pretend like it's been super easy being a Niner fan all the whole ride, especially during our era. But the era that we're looking at right now, especially coming off this victory against the Panthers, what was kind of your, we start high level and then we'll drill in. What was kind of your just overarching takeaway? Again, you said it, 2 wins in a row. Not bad considering the way this year started.
Funny how that works, right? And how this is a week-to-week league and how quickly things can change. You change your fortunes with a win on Monday night, then you have a win against an inferior opponent like the Carolina Panthers. Yes, the Carolina Panthers are an inferior opponent. And if you think that this team is what they are, or what you consider them to be, then that should have been the result. Like I love the people that like to say, well, it's just Carolina. Well, if they would have beat Carolina by a field goal, you would say, why did they struggle with Carolina? You can't keep
imagine if Carolina won, somehow played their best game.
Right, like you can't keep that same energy when the 49ers absolutely destroy an opponent they're supposed to destroy and then say, well, it's just Carolina. Because if that game would have went down to the last minute with a field goal or Carolina wins, you'd be talking crazy. So again, people are going to do their mental gymnastics to do whatever it is, to say whatever they want to say about the 49ers and to knock them down. But yes, this team is exactly what we thought they would be, and they took care of business against an inferior opponent. Like, the Panthers stink. I'm sorry. Like, don't blame me. Blame the Panthers. I don't play. I just watch. Anyone who saw that the Panthers stink. They stink. And the 49ers took care of business. So, yeah, I mean, overall, that's what good teams do. That's it.
I love this comment from Harris. He says, "Spicy Aponte, more like icy Aponte." I freaking love it, man. That's a good one.
Hey, man, you got to break the Mitchell. You got to break the Mitchell and Ness stuff out, man, for the playoffs, man. You do. You definitely do, man. But yeah, man, I have a lot of really nice Niners gear. You guys see me. I'll be flashing it off on this weekend in Atlanta. Trust me. And if anybody's out there, please come say what's up. Let's talk. But yeah, I have a lot of really nice Yankee gear, man. So, yeah.
I imagine as long as the Yankees are in it, we're going to see a lot more of that on Wednesdays or any day throughout the week, for that matter, from you. So we'll see how it continues to go, but I like it. I like you repping the gang, regardless if it's not the Niner gang. But back to the Panthers game. I mean, the 49ers came in and they did work, so much so that David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, decided it's time to blow this entire thing up. Literally light the match, ignite the bomb, and imploded. Rhule got fired. I think, was it their DC got fired? Assistant special teams coach got fired. That was obviously in the works a lot longer than, what the 49ers just did. But it felt like clearly the 49ers kind of dismantling of the Panthers was the nail in the coffin, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, Matt Rhule has to collect $840,000 per month for the next 2 years by the Carolina Panthers. Poor guy, man. I'm sure he's going through it right now, and he's going to land whatever prominent college job is out there. Because I'll admit this, I want to take an L if I can. We had a chance. You and I, When the Brad and Jason friendship began, it began at this place
in Mobile.
in Mobile. And on one side was Matt Rhule, on the other side was Brian Flores. And I walked away, especially after the press conference. You got a chance to speak with Matt Rhule. You watched how he ran the practices. I walked away thoroughly impressed with Matt Rhule. He has coached every single position. And what I mean by that is he's been a tight end coach, he's been a quarterback coach, he's been a running back coach, he's been a defensive line coach. He's done it all. And it showed in Mobile, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Brett. It showed in Mobile.
No, I'm right there with you. I think we were both singing his praises after that week.
Right. So I walked away saying, man, the Panthers are in good hands. If they can figure out this quarterback situation, they're moving in the right direction. I'll take the L. They were not moving in the right direction. Narrator, they were in fact not moving in the right direction. But you know what? The little that I saw in Mobile, when you got a chance to hear him speak, one of the things that really popped out when Matt Rhule spoke was when he said about how he got into the elevator with a prospect who was somebody who was going to be high up on their board, right? And he said it was a 30-second, right? Like, you hear about the elevator speech.
Yeah.
And he said that after 30 seconds of being in that elevator with that prospect, who was supposed to be a high up prospect, they completely wiped them off the board. And this is where you and I got into a conversation about scouting players and how hard it is to scout not only the talent, but the player itself or the person itself, right?
Yeah.
And I walked away thoroughly impressed with that little tidbit that Matt Rhule gave out. But yeah, Matt Rhule, just he's not an NFL coach. He's just not, unfortunately. And it showed. And I take the L on that. Again, Mobile bias, Senior Bowl bias, being able to see him, all of that. But definitely will take that.
Yeah, I was the same way, right there, up close and personal. And I was like, oh, Matt Rhule's a good coach. I like this guy a lot. He's got a lot of charisma. He's getting everyone together. The way he carried himself at practice, it felt like the Panthers had finally found their coach, but it just never worked. And it could be a bunch of different reasons why it didn't work, but it ultimately comes down to this is a results-based business. You don't have the results. Guess who goes? It's the head coach. It's Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, kind of a retread Cam Newton. Like, they just never really got that quarterback position settled. And ultimately, it ended with Matt Rhule's job. And if you really look at, like, the building of the team, they have a lot of talent. And I agree with Lisa. Like, the Panthers defense wasn't that bad. Like, you got Brian Burns, you got Derek Brown, you got Shaq Thompson, JC Horn, Jeremy Chin, who's one of their best players, wasn't out there. Yeah, I mean, they've done
Xavier Woods didn't play.
They've done a good job of stockpiling talent. It's just actually, like, Luvu's pretty freaking good.
Yeah, he is too.
They just had a hard time of actually
Derek Brown's good.
Piecing it together, right? So it's like, even when I'm watching the tape and watching the 49ers offense, you could see instances where, like, oh, Brian Burns almost got home, or like this guy was in good coverage here. But it was just, we saw Jimmy cooking. Like, like, what the hell, man? Like,
and
who had that going into 2022? Jimmy Garoppolo cooking for the San Francisco 49ers. I mean,
he's improved.
Talk about that.
He's improved every week. And again, guys, I've said this many times, and I'll reiterate it here. I don't want you to change whatever it is that you believe about Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't want you to all of a sudden view Jimmy Garoppolo in a new light. All you have to say, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Say it with me. Say it with me. Jimmy Garoppolo played well on Sunday. That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say. That's it. That's all you need to say. It doesn't mean that you saying that Jimmy Garoppolo played well on Sunday means that you believe he's in that Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes tier. No. But we have reached a point where even the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo haters have to kind of cope with the fact that he played well. And he's been playing well for 2 straight weeks. That's all you need to say. It doesn't matter what you think about him, and it doesn't mean that you need to change your outlook. But all you need to say, just say these words one more time. Jimmy Garoppolo played well on Sunday. That's it. That's it. What's so hard about that? What's so hard about that? It's not hard to say that. Now, look, in the same breath, if Jimmy Garoppolo plays poorly in any game, guess who'll be the first to tell you that he played poorly? Me.
Yeah.
And anybody should. Objectively, we have lost objectivity with Jimmy Garoppolo. We've just lost objectivity, right? So crush him when he doesn't play well. Jimmy Garoppolo haters, whatever it is that you want to call them, deniers. But you have to be able to say that he played well. That's it. Like, I don't understand what's so hard about that portion of it. I'm not asking you to reevaluate Jimmy Garoppolo. He's still in the same tier that he was last week, the week before that. Same guy, but he played well in this game. That's it. Played well. I don't know what's hard about that.
It feels like we're at a point where it's like, especially for 49er fans, like, what's the point of even trying to quantify or rank him? Like, Jimmy is who he is. We know. We've seen 5 years of this guy. What are we arguing about? Like, what are we trying to, like, reorganize his tier rankings? Like, oh, he's still a middling tier. We don't care. At this point, of this 2022 San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, you would think it's his last year. Who knows? We've seen crazier things happen.
I have no more statements about what's going to happen going forward.
We're not focused on the future. We're not focused on the future. We're focused on right here and now. And right here and now, Jimmy Garoppolo is performing better than typically we've seen of Jimmy. That's what we're basing it off of. When I say Jimmy Garoppolo cooks, I'm looking at the last 5 years of Jimmy Garoppolo, 2017, the couple of games he had in 2018, 2019 when he was coming back from surgery, the down year in 2020, the kind of up and down year 2021. That game that we saw from Jimmy Garoppolo, throwing outside the numbers, throwing with anticipation, throwing to guys in single coverage, giving them opportunities to make plays, threading the needle in between zone coverages. Jimmy was like, those are, I think, the things, like, objectively, you take a step back and you evaluate Jimmy over the last couple of years. You're like, that's always what we've wanted from Jimmy. And if Jimmy can do that and do this consistent, because that's I think when we've talked about Jimmy Garoppolo in the past, we're like, Jimmy Garoppolo's consistently inconsistent. And if he could just close that gap of inconsistencies and play well like he is capable of over a period of time, then Jimmy's a great quarterback. The 49ers are winning football games, and these conversations aren't being had where they're drafting Trey Lance and doing all those kinds of things, but he just has been inconsistent. So yes, Jimmy Garoppolo had a really good game against the Panthers. I think we can all objectively say that, regardless if you're in his camp or not. But the next measure of evaluation for Jimmy, can he do it again? And then can he do it again? And can he maintain this? And if he can maintain this play, hold on, 49er fans. Like, I'm excited for thinking about playoff football, because if you get Jimmy Garoppolo playing at that level, like, I mean, he was playing really well.
And Jimmy Garoppolo has a chance in this Atlanta game to do something he's never done as a 49er. 3 straight games without a turnover. That's a new high. That would be something that's a new high for him. That's it. And look, again, if Jimmy Garoppolo can play clean football in the fashion that you saw, efficiently move the football. I don't want to hear about drop picks. Can I go on a mini rant about drop picks real quick?
Please, go for it.
Do not bring drop picks into this for me, because that goes to show me that you haven't been watching any football this entire year. Because if you watched any game, Gabriel Davis had the catch of the day on a Josh Allen dime that was a near interception, but it wasn't. You know why it wasn't? Because Gabe Davis finished the play. But it's somehow, Jimmy Garoppolo had 2 near drops and drop interceptions. It's only him. I implore anybody who has NFL Plus and pays for that god-awful service to open up Game Pass and watch a few games. Just watch a few games. And when you start to see, play a drinking game and please play responsibly in your home. When a quarterback throws a ball that should be intercepted and is dropped, take a drink. Take a drink. I don't understand why. And then you know what? Don't bring up dropped interceptions to me and leave out the fact that George Kittle fumbled on a drive that probably would have finished in the score. Deebo Samuel dropped a pitch and catch over the middle. Brandon Ayuk dropped a back shoulder throw that was beautifully put on him.
Jimmy put the ball in the corner of the end zone to Deebo Samuel, hit him right in the hands.
which would substantially boost his numbers. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why you can sit there and say, well, yeah, he played okay, but they had 2 drop picks, and leave out the fact that his receivers let him down a little bit. Literally every single quarterback that plays this game has dropped interceptions week to week. But I just don't understand why this needs to be a conversation about Jimmy Garoppolo. Look at this Yankee fan. Sam H., whatever team you like, they're not in the playoffs. So, yeah, look at this Yankee fan.
Well, talking about that play too, like we've came down Jimmy's road. Like if he throws to an underneath linebacker or a safety playing the robber and just rotating down into the middle of the field, he doesn't see it. You can at least go back to the film and you can see that that safety was still retreating. He was still in his back pedal when he threw that over. I think it was like a deep crosser to Debo Samuel. And so I can even give him a pass on that play because I think he read it properly. The safety was backpedaling. He tried to fit it in there. The safety did a good job of reading his eyes and jumping the football, and he almost came away with the pick. But other than that, Jimmy was pretty damn clean the entire day. And I think if you can get clean Jimmy, then the 49ers have an opportunity to do a lot of damage because we already know how good that defense is. And you add the weapons of Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, Tevin Coleman's now added into the mix, and Jeff Wilson. If you can get clean play out of Jimmy Garoppolo like that against the Panthers week in and week out, this team is going to be a problem to beat.
Yeah, and that's it. They're just going to be a tough out. That's all. And it's just, again, it boils down to, can you be objective? Or do you want your narrative and whatever it is that you want to say I'm right about? Like, again, can we just be objective? If Jimmy Garoppolo plays poorly, the first person who's going to say Jimmy Garoppolo played poorly will be me. When Jimmy Garoppolo plays well, like he has the last 2 weeks, the first person who's going to point that out is going to be me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I want to keep it down the middle. I have no sweeping thoughts. I have no change in thoughts of Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's playing well. And when he doesn't turn the ball over and he's efficient on offense, this team is an incredibly tough out. Tough out. This is the thing about the 49ers. And we can pivot from the Jimmy stuff like real quick.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I want to talk about this team. The 49ers have reinforcements on the way somehow still. And what I mean by that is the NFC is kind of dead set where they are. And what I mean by that is the Green Bay Packers aren't missing anybody on offense that they would get back that you would say, oh, that's going to drastically change things besides David Bakhtiari, who has been in and out, right? So the Packers are who they are. The Tampa Bay Bucks are who they are. Julio Jones may be back. Okay, cool. The Eagles are who they are. But the 49ers have a chance to have actual reinforcements that will be a big impact, like the best left tackle in the world. Elijah Mitchell is on his way back. Jimmy Ward should be back soon. And we're going to talk about injuries, clearly.
Yep.
Imagine having your first option off the bench to replace Emmanuel Mosley, who I'm absolutely gutted for, be Jason Verrett, right? And for all the people, why are you messing around with Jason Verrett? This is why. The immediate depth that this team poses and that they have is why people are so afraid. The 49ers are going to continue to be that team going into the playoffs down the stretch that nobody wants to play. And that's going to be the crux of the reason that people are excited about this team. When Trent gets back, you've already solidified Jimmy's backside. Elijah Mitchell is just going to add more to this running back room. Jimmy Ward is only going to add a little bit more, which, by the way, on the one play that he was in there, Tashawn Gibson and Talanoa Hufanga were both on the field at the same time. So ultimate flexibility.
And you had Ward come off the edge and almost make a tackle.
Yep. All immediate flexibility right there, right? This team is loaded. And they have reinforcements. Now, look, Emmanuel Mosley's not coming back. That's not something I'm just going to say, oh, it doesn't matter about that. That really, really is a big injury, right? Azeez Al-Shaair will be back at some point. Like, these are the reinforcements that are coming down the line for this team. If this team can continue to play the way that they have on defense, operate the ball efficiently on offense, not turn the ball over, they are going to be a team that nobody wants to face. And they are the team that is the most equipped to go on the road, whether it's cold, whether it's a dome, whatever it is, to beat your team in the playoffs. And the 49ers are still that team that you do not want to see pop up on the schedule at all.
Yeah, dude. It's been a good kind of adjustment period because obviously it was jarring right at the beginning of the season with the injury to Trey, the transition, everything in between, how that Denver game played out. But you're exactly right. The 49ers still have some of their best players aren't even on the field right now, and they're going to be on the field in a couple weeks. So it's a great spot to be in for the 49ers. They really have an opportunity to take this league over, man. Like, and we'll see. We're going to take it one game at a time. We're not going to get too far ahead of ourselves, and
Right.
we're not going to make any grand proclamations. But we do see that not only are they performing well now, but they even have opportunities to perform even better down the road.
And grow.
We didn't even talk about Eric Armstead. We haven't talked about like Javon Kinlaw being out. Like the guys are stepping up. Hassan Ridgeway, Kevin Givens, Kerry Hyder, like Charles Omenihu. Like the list goes on, man. They have so much depth on this team. It is really starting to shine early, but the positive, like you've mentioned, they're going to get those guys back and be able to Jalen Moore, the way Jalen Moore played against Brian Burns, like it was great. Speaking of Brian Burns, Jason,
you and I, this week was a tough week for you and I. DJ Moore's running wide open with his hand open, and he can't get the ball at all. I'm just like, I'm like, good, you didn't see him, Baker Mayfield, but I hate it for my son, DJ Moore. But but the same thing with Brian Burns.
So I know it's been a popular talking point amongst 49er fans. You guys already know my affinity for Brian Burns. Of course, your affinity for DJ Moore. And with the firing and clearing house, the coaching staff with the Panthers, a lot has been made about like, oh, maybe some guys are available. Popular names: Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Brian Burns, Derek Brown. Is that an option? Are any of those guys an option? Put your GM cap on. Are any of those guys you think a probable option for the 49ers to trade for? Or do you think, based on just like the conversation we just talked about, they got lots of waves of depth? Maybe they don't need to trade. Maybe they can stay put unless the trade fits exactly the compensation, cap, all that kind of stuff.
I know that it's been put out there. Jake Glazer said that, calls were going to be made, and that's exactly what you should do, right? Like go make a call. But if I'm the Panthers, JC Horn, Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Jeremy Chin, these are positional like landmarks, especially you just paid DJ Moore. You just paid all these guys. I don't think they're going to move any of those guys. But there's no problem in calling and asking. And I think a lot of 49er fans are salivating at the idea of Christian McCaffrey in a Kyle Shanahan offense. But no.
I would too. I was watching the tape. I'm like, oh, he's still got it. Like he's still like legit. But it's we get into the business side, right? Compensation, cap. It's a big hit.
And also, unfortunately, Panthers fans were completely checked out in this game, man. It was a ton of 49ers fans. I mean, the 49ers fans travel wherever, but you also have to think about this. While you're in like, oh, well, they should get first-round picks, what do you tell your fan base when you trade away Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown? You're telling them, oh, stick with us for another 3 years while we can stockpile all these picks. No. You gotta be able to put people in the seats. So yeah, Carolina's not moving off those guys. But if you're a general manager in this league, if you're one of the 31 other teams, doesn't hurt to call. Does not hurt to call. Conversations cost nothing. That's all. But yeah, I don't think anybody's getting moved.
Yeah, I agree. If anyone's getting moved, it potentially could be CMC just because of how much he costs, and they could potentially get something in return for him. But I don't see why you would trade any of these guys, because it becomes less attractive of a spot for maybe a guy like Sean Payton, who's out there in the media talking about, oh, the Panthers job is it's pretty attractive position, maybe, to take over. You got all these.
He wants to get back at the Saints.
Maybe.
Oh wow.
Maybe.
That's petty. I love that.
I think I forget which show he was on. I think it might have been Cowherd's show, but he was talking about like how like, oh yeah, they got a good spot. And he was talking highly of Baker Mayfield. Oh man, it was who knows? But again, if you are the Panthers, man, you got a lot of talent there. That's not the problem. The problem wasn't the talent on the field. It was kind of the coordination and making everything work together. So I don't know. I don't think the 49ers are going to make a move, as much as I love Brian Burns, and it's become now like it's part of the brand now.
It's a meme now. Yeah.
To get Burns over here. So, but it would take, I don't know, Burns is he's going to be on a 5th-year contract next year, so you'd get a year and a half of team control. Do the 49ers do that? I don't know. Do the Panthers do that? I don't know. It would be great to see, but it's hard to fathom at this point. So I don't think, I can't give a definitive opinion one way or the other if the 49ers are going to make a move. The only way I could see them doing that if like there was actually potential like injury to Bosa that was a longer term injury. But I think at this point it is what it is. Let's talk about that defense though for the 49ers.
Yeah.
What have you seen from them, especially being able to, they're down Aziz, they're down Jimmy, they're down Eric and Javon. What have you seen from this defense?
D'Amico's incredible and continues to dial it up in the right ways. And all of this defensive line depth that we talked about is absolutely true. Dre Greenlaw's playing absolutely out of his mind. Guess who's a bozo? Me. Absolutely. So shout out to you, Dre Greenlaw. Talanoa Hufanga is still that guy. Tashawn Gibson has been playing very well. Mooney Ward, it has been worth every single dollar.
Good.
And this was what I was talking about. When I said that this defense was going to be better than the 2012 defense, sure. Who have you faced? The best defense, the best offense the 49ers have faced so far, hold on to your hats, 49ers fans, is the Seattle Seahawks.
Right? Hey, Gino's cooking out here.
Gino is cooking. The only week that he didn't cook was against the San Francisco 49ers. Isn't that funny how that works? Yep. But yes, this defense is everything and more. Now, look, you can get away with certain injuries. And again, we always talk about styles make fights, right? Right? Like, you can get away with certain injuries. Emmanuel Mosley is going to be out for the year. If you did have to stick Ambry Thomas, Womack, Lenore, one of those guys out there, you could probably get by with that this week. That's not going to be the way that you're going to win against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's not going to be the way that you're going to win against the Los Angeles Chargers or the Rams or anything like that. But you do have this little grace period with these two teams, because the 49ers are still a better team than the Falcons. Like, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But
yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about besides the defense was what the fuck? I'm sorry. Did the Carolina Panthers do? What did the Carolina Panthers do to Tevin Coleman to make him just absolutely dominate?
That's what I'm saying, bro. He's got ownership stake in the Panthers or something, man. Dude.
Unbelievable.
He goes off against them.
Unbelievable. So shout out to Tevin Coleman for his opportunity. It's like he sees Carolina Panthers and he just sees red and he goes crazy. But yeah, his defense is everything we thought it would be and more. But this is going to be a time where, look, Nick Bosa could take this week off in Atlanta. We all this talk about artificial turf. The goal this week is to find a way to get a W and get everybody back on that plane as healthy as possible.
It's hard not to look ahead to week 7, right? Because we know who's coming through those doors. It's Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, right? And it's like, yeah, we want Nick Bosa out there against the Falcons. But I think 49, at least, speaking from a fan standpoint, we for sure want Bosa on the field against the Chiefs.
Yes, and the same thing with Trent. Take the week off this week, Trent.
Yes.
Trent, Bosa, all those guys that are on the fringe of playing this week, take the week off. You take your chances. And I think that's the way that Kyle has been thinking about it. Kyle has done that before, where he's just like, I can get by in this game with these amount of guys and get through. So I think he's thinking the same thing. And I would not be upset. The Chiefs, the Rams, your bye week, which probably couldn't come at a better time at this point.
Perfect
after
timing, man.
And then Monday Night Football again against the Chargers, or is it Sunday Night Football against the Chargers?
It's Sunday Night Football. Monday night is the next week in Mexico.
Yeah. So I mean, you can get by this week without them, and I know. Look, any given Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons, right? Anything can happen. If the Atlanta Falcons If the Atlanta Falcons play 3 quarters of football the same way that they did against the Tampa Bay Bucks, the 49ers are going to win that game by 27 points. Let me remind you of something. What everybody's all, oh man, Atlanta looked good against Tampa. It's a divisional game. Divisional games are weird. They're weird.
Yes.
When the Atlanta Falcons challenge the Buffalo Bills in a game or one of the elite teams in a game, then get nervous. Do not come to me with the example of what happened last week because, 1, you're either telling me you didn't watch that game, or 2, you don't understand how divisional games work. But they were terrible in the first 3 quarters of that game, and the only reason they hung around is because that Bucs offensive line is worse. And
they're injured.
And let's just say they lost, because of a BS pass interference call. But stop talking about the Atlanta Falcons like they're this team that you need stylistically. They don't do anything that would threaten the 49ers. Again, you don't have to have the better roster to threaten a team. And what I mean by that is, if you have outside corners that struggle, but you have really two really good outside corners and you can attack them even if your team overall isn't bad, that can present a problem. But the Atlanta Falcons haven't even been able to get Kyle Pitts on the field when he's healthy and get him the ball. Drake London is literally the only other guy. Cordero Patterson is on IR. So you're telling me you're afraid of Tyler Algier and Corey Huntley? Like, guys, it's still Marcus Mariota. Like, guys, again, relax. It was a divisional game. This 49ers team, if they are what we believe they are, they will beat the Atlanta Falcons. Now, are they going to roll the Atlanta Falcons? I'm not ready to say that. But if I was a betting man, 49ers money line, give me that. Give me that all week this week. Come on. Like, again, guys, I understand the need to be humble, prepare yourself, all of those things. But stylistically, they don't do anything that threatens the 49ers. Sure, they run the ball well. And I'll give you that. How much of that is Marcus Mariota, though? And how much of that was Cordero Patterson when he was there? But the 49ers are elite at run defense. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand.
The best cover linebackers in the league, and they might get Kyle Pitts back. It sounds like he's trending towards being available, but you got guys who can take care of that and manage that.
I don't understand why it's all of a sudden now you need to be scared of the big bad Atlanta Falcons. Like, what? Like, guys, it's okay to say your team's better than the Falcons. If the Falcons beat the 49ers, we've got a larger discussion to have.
Yes, I agree with that.
Come on.
I agree with that. I mean, you're talking about their number one target coming off an injury, who's a rookie, has 22 receptions for 266 yards through 5 games, 2 touchdowns. Not a world beater there. Kyle Pitts has 10 catches on the year for 150 yards, no touchdowns. Now, of course, you can see a situation where anyone can have a game at any given moment. But like this 49ers defense, regardless of if they're at full strength or not, you look at Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Mooney Ward is clamps, man. Like Robbie Anderson tried his best and he got away with that little push off. We'll give him the veteran push. I'm not going to scream and cry about it. I'll tip my cap to Robbie and say, okay, we'll give that one to you. You got away with it. But other than that, Mooney is clamps. You are not throwing on him. He's always in position. He's always going to be able to do that. The best thing they can do is throw opposite side of him, whether maybe we do see Jason Verrett this week. And we know what he's capable of. Who knows? But you also got guys maybe like Samuel Womack, Deommodore Lenoir, Ambry Thomas. We've seen them be able to play in spurts. And again, I've got a soft spot for Marcus Mariota. But Marcus Mariota's got 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not necessarily the greatest ratio.
Oh, my God, Brad.
He's not 57% completion percentage.
Brad.
He's not turning anything down.
Gotta watch out for this Falcons quarterback, man. Oh, my God, man. You're walking into a trap. Jesus, guys.
If there's anyone to worry about, it's Cordell Patterson, and he's not on the field.
And he's not even there. It's like, it's okay, guys, to say your team is better than them. Your team has been ascending in this week, and this is a game that your team should win. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you want to see Humble Jay, tune right in for State of the Franchise the next week when we talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, because I'm going to be humble as shit. Yeah. That's it. Like, I don't understand. When did Marcus Mariota become somebody that we're like, oh, man, he scrambles a bit? That is a little bit overblown because the 49ers have done a much better job at stopping scrambling quarterbacks. And it started last year in Arizona against Kyler Murray, who was playing at the MVP level. He ran for 14 yards in that game. There's not many. The scrambling quarterback thing, I want to tell you this. If you think the 49ers, struggle with scrambling quarterbacks, that's the league. The league does. You know why? Because those guys are unpredictable. That's it. Like, I just don't understand, guys. If Corey Soto, I'm going to laugh if the 49ers lose this weekend. No, you just want to be right. And and what happens when the 49ers boat race the Falcons in Atlanta? You're going to be like, oh, well, I was wrong. No, you're not. You're so, like, stop it, man. Will you relax? Guys, if the Falcons beat the 49ers, we have a larger discussion to be had. And stylistically, if you look at 2019, here's the reason that the 49ers lost to the Falcons in 2019. Stylistically, 2 things were wrong. Julio Jones was still on that team. He's not walking through that door anytime soon. And Grady Jarrett blew up the inside of this lineup. Now, can Grady Jarrett do that? For sure. But offensively, on the other side, Marcus Mariota, this is what we're worried about. Like this is where we are as 49ers fans. Like, I'll say this: Baker Mayfield's trash. He's better than Marcus Mariota. Like, come on, guys. Come on. They have much better weapons over there in Carolina as well, too. But now, all of a sudden, we need to be worried about the Atlanta Falcons, who played in a divisional game in which they played 3 quarters of dog shit. And in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, the Bucs started, playing poorly, and they got close in that game. But now we need to be worried about that.
The Falcons have lost to the New Orleans Saints 27-26. They
Makes
lost
sense?
to the Rams 31-26.
Wait. First game, divisional game.
Yep. Second game at Rams. The third game, they beat Seattle 27-23. Okay, Seattle. We know what Seattle is, but they've been playing well considering things that we thought they were. They go into Cleveland, or Cleveland comes to them. They beat Cleveland 23-20. Jacoby Brissett. Like, he's been playing nice, but it's still Jacoby. And then they lose to the Bucs. I just don't see it. Again, the 49ers right now, and you say it all the time, styles make fights. And the 49ers stylistically right now are playing a brand of football that is really hard to defend offensively and what they can do defensively. You look at this 3-4 defense that the Falcons are running. The 49ers, I don't see really anyone outside of the name of Grady Jarrett that really pops off to me, that really offers any type of they have good DBs, but other than that, their front seven looks like they can be walked on.
Okay,
so we'll see.
So all right, let me ask the question to the people that are worried about the Atlanta Falcons this week. Are the Atlanta Falcons better than they were last season when the 49ers played them in Santa Clara? And if the answer is no, then I don't want to hear it. Because they're not. The quarterback's worse. Arthur Smith, sure, he runs Shanahan's offense. That's cool. But they're down weapons. Cordero Patterson's not playing. Tyler Algier had his chance last week. Sure, he went up against a run defense that's very good in the Bucs. What do you do? Right. Again, guys, if you can't tell me that this team is better than the team that the 49ers faced last year, then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I mean, I get it. We say, I believe in any given Sunday. Things happen, right? But theoretically, based on the game that the 49ers had, both offensively and defensively, they can improve on special teams. I think we can agree with that. We might even see a new kicker this week. Hopefully that's not the outcome that determines this potential game, because we don't know if Robbie Gould's going to be out there kicking or not. It doesn't sound like it. They signed the kicker to the practice squad. He has an opportunity to get elevated. We'll see. But when you just take a step back with how the 49ers are playing, the depth that they have and can provide, and if that run game is working, man, you got Tevin Coleman stretching teams horizontally. You got Jeff Wilson running in between the tackles. And then you got Jimmy dispersing to the weapons that he has, and they're still trying to get things together. They have the 49ers offense has an opportunity to take another step further against the Falcons, and that's the hope. And if they do, there's no chance they're losing that game, because if that offense takes a step forward, then the defense is going to do what they need to do, and it should be a win. I think we can. It's not. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the blowout like we projected against the Panthers. I think they'll be a little bit more competitive, but the 49ers should take care of this game.
That's it. It's not going to be a blowout. The 49ers are going to play a much tighter game than they did against the Carolina Panthers, especially when you consider what they did on defense. But I believe in the coaching. I believe in this roster. I believe in this offense. And I don't believe stylistically the Atlanta Falcons pose the threat that many people do. Now, sure, any given Sunday, anything can happen. But next week, if you want to see me humble and you want to see me talking about, man, I really don't know what's going to happen, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. This week, right. The 49ers right in front of this Atlanta Falcons team is better in every facet of every game, in any way. I don't understand why this needs to be a discussion in terms of, oh, my goodness, we need to be nervous. No. If this team is what you think it is, they'll handle business. That's it.
Absolutely. And this game's going to be won in the trenches. And regardless, we've seen even with Eric and Javon out, this team can get it done. They've got waves and waves of depth and we've talked about this D-line depth for a reason. They should take care of business, even on the road, in a dome. Doesn't matter. 49ers should win this game. I mean, I think we're on the same page there. I think
Yes.
the 49ers should be able to take care of business here. So I really don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. The only issue that we could potentially run into is, right, if we get inconsistent Jimmy. Then I think if we get some inconsistent play, that's where the things get in, become questionable. But as we see it on paper, the 49ers are just a better team. That's
Yeah,
point.
that's it.
Point period.
It's okay, guys. Believe in your team. It's okay. It's okay. Your team this week,
Absolutely.
this is one of these weeks that you can say, I believe in the coaching. I believe in the roster. I believe in, this offense. It's okay. It's okay to
Yeah.
say that. It truly is, man.
Yeah, and they've given us reason to believe. It's not just biased or blind like hope or anything like that. They put it on film. Like they played good football, and they've even shown they can play better football. And so you would imagine against the Falcons, as this team continues to mesh and gel, they will have an opportunity to perform even better. And you kind of mentioned it before, and I kind of want to circle back, man. Tevin Coleman, like, he ran really well outside the tackles. And if that's something that the 49ers haven't been able to do really since Raheem Mostert. And it just adds a completely different element to what the offense can do. So you got these running backs, man. TDP could be back. It just feels like the 49ers are going to do what they do. Control the football. Don't turn it over. Use the run game. Play action off of it. Let Jimmy cook a little bit. Seems like a recipe for a win to me.
If Jimmy does exactly what he did in Carolina in terms of those numbers and doesn't turn the ball over, the 49ers win by 2 touchdowns. And look, when you look at this is what's funny about the offense, and everybody's like, "Oh, I need the offense to score more points." Well, okay. George Kittle fumbles that ends the drive. They punted 2 times, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, twice in this game, and they had a field goal blocked.
Yeah.
These are all scoring opportunities, and they would have run up more. So again, the only team that can really get in the 49ers' way is the 49ers on offense.
That's been the case for a long time, right?
Right. So like it's people are like, well, they're not scoring enough points, and sure, they got a pick 6 from Emmanuel Mosley. Shout out to him, man, as always. But when you objectively look at it, 2 punts in a game, and you have a drive where you were moving the ball down the field. Unfortunately, George Kittle fumbled, and then you have a blocked field goal, and then you have a drop pass that would have kept the drive going, another drop pass that would have kept the drive. The offense is fine. The offense is fine right now. They're moving in the right direction. And that's the thing is if they can play that same way that they did against Carolina, control the ball, don't turn the ball over, Atlanta doesn't stand a chance. I don't get it. It's right there in front of you guys. It's not some big reach. It's not something that you need to really think about hard. It's really about who can do what they want to do in this game. Do you believe that the Atlanta Falcons can do whatever they want in this game, or do you believe that the San Francisco 49ers can? And that's not biased. The San Francisco 49ers are more likely to do whatever they want to do in this game than the Atlanta Falcons are. And that's it.
Yeah, and I think coaching's going to come into it too, man. I think you talked about it earlier. D'Amico's out here. He's cooking with gas.
Yeah.
Like, really fun to watch him and the alignments that he's putting out there and the stunts and the games that they're running on that front 7. It's really, really fun to see, and they feel really it feels like they feel really confident playing Gibson in single high and allowing Talanoa to just kind of roam almost as like a third linebacker at times. Like, he's just playing around the line of scrimmage, and I think that's where Talanoa thrives the most. And that's going to be, when you bring in Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and the weapons that they have, feels like the defense matches up really well against the Falcons. Feels like the offense matches up really, really well. I feel like we know it's just going to be a win, right? So
yeah,
I think it's more or less the same. So kind of recapping the Panthers, looking at the Falcons, like any other takeaways that you want to kind of touch on from that Panthers game as we, again, continue to move forward towards the Falcons?
No. If you're in Atlanta, show me a good time. Let me know where it's at. There's 2 things going on in Atlanta besides all the 49ers stuff. Jeezy's having a concert with DJ Drama where he's going to do only mixtape songs and his B-sides, and I'm going to try my best to get in there. And Lil Baby's dropping on Friday. So I'll be in Atlanta for so yeah, that's why Magic City's got to get hit up. I got to see what the vibe is. I got to get me some wings. I got to listen to Baby's album in the club and see what's up. No, look, the 49ers are in a good position to put themselves 4-2. And then when you look at the landscape of the NFC West, so let's recap that. This is where we should talk about. Like, we've got another 15 minutes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I posted a tweet about the score differentials, the point differentials for every team in the NFC West. And I'm going to pull it up just so I want to reiterate it, just so we can, just talk about where the NFC West is. Remind you, the Arizona Cardinals just lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, which was pretty, everybody kind of saw that coming. But right now, the 49ers are plus 47 in the NFC West point differential. The Rams are minus 36. The Cardinals are minus 18. The Seahawks are a minus 27. The 49ers are in a prime spot to go 4-2, put themselves, they're still 2-0 in the division, which gives them the tiebreaker, in a prime position to put themselves in a spot where they're in the driver's seat for the NFC West division. And in a little while, when the reinforcements come back, when this team starts to get rolling, because I still think there's one more gear still in this offense that's left. Still, there's just a little bit more that they can get.
Yeah.
This is a team that is going to be moving in the same direction that everybody believed it was. It's not biased. It's looking at them. The Cardinals, they're a mess. The Cardinals are probably going to lose to Seattle this week. Put me down for that. I got Geno Smith cooking the Cardinals in Seattle. So they will be in last place. The Rams are probably going to win this week because they are visited by the Carolina Panthers, the PJ Walker-led Carolina Panthers. But the 49ers are going to be 4-2. They're going to be 3-3. The Cardinals are going to be 2-4, and the Seahawks are going to be 3-3. When you look at that, that looks like a tightly contested division. When you look at how they've won and what those teams are doing and their problems, the 49ers are head and shoulders above a bunch of these teams right now. All of these teams. So, again, it's all right there in front of the 49ers. Handle business on Sunday, and we'll worry about the Kansas City Chiefs next week. And look, I can say what I want. Again, guys, I can say what I want. I can overlook the Falcons. I can do whatever I want. The 49ers will not overlook the Falcons. That's all you need to worry about. It's not like, the 49ers when they go to the podium.
Great point. That's a great point. We're not playing. We're not lacing it up. We're not getting out on the field.
It's not like when Kyle Shanahan gets to the podium and the 49ers lose to the Falcons, they're going to be like, well, Jason Aponte on his podcast, he kind of told us that this game was over or whatever. No, I can overlook anybody I want. They will. They won't. And that's why I'm so confident in the 49ers. The 49ers won't overlook them. So Don't tell me you can't overlook them. I'm not playing. The 49ers are. That's why I'm so confident. If I was playing, I'd be much more hesitant to say that the 49ers are going to win. If I was, if I had to,
Kyle Shanahan's not at the freaking podium like, oh, we're on to the Chiefs. Like, screw the Falcons. Like, it's not like walk in the park.
Kyle's going to get to the podium and be like, well, Jason Aponte, man, he said all week that we're going to beat the Falcons. It's like, it's kind of on him. No, nobody listens. Nobody cares what I have to say. The 49ers are going to do what they're going to do, and that's why I'm so confident in them. Don't worry about what I have to say. I can overlook anybody I want. I can do whatever I want. That's it.
Absolutely. And they're the reason why that people are saying audio issues.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
So let us know in the chat if you can't hear us, because we can hear each other. Keith Murphy says, too bad they shut down Foley's. Anyway, come have a good time with the Atlanta Niners.
Oh, too bad they can't shut down Foley's. Foley's is a strip club in Atlanta.
Too bad they shut that down. I wonder if James Harden had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So that's funny. We got this one too a little earlier, but I wanted to get it in. Corey Soto says, but what about the Dodgers are going to win it all?
Maybe. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'm just happy that the Yankees are still playing baseball. So, and honestly, wouldn't shock me if the Dodgers won it. They're really good. Newsflash, it's okay to say that other teams are good, even if they're not your team. Damn, they can't hear us at all?
Yeah, apparently we're having audio
They say mad slurs, coaxy. No, we're not at all. No, we're not.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it says they can't hear us. So maybe that's the
best
time
place to end it. Yeah.
That's the time we wrap it up. So, all right. Well, that's it. They can't hear us. If you can. I haven't done sign language in a long time. But hey, we'll be back next week for State of the Franchise. Apologize if you can't hear us. If you can, You already know what to do.
That sucks.
Smash
I'm
that
sorry.
like button. Sub to both these channels. Yeah, I guess they can't hear. So we'll get out of here. It was a good one. But thanks, Jason. I guess we'll end it on that. We're out.
We out.
All right, we're out of here. Appreciate you guys. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see